Tell them you know. Oh yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy, mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, standing back to back, kicking 9 times. Doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophets back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Tell them you know. Oh Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy, mercy. Show me where you. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? History, yeah. road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, welcome back. You are now tuned into
Our Hidden History radio show.
We in the building, baby.
Yeah, we back, baby.
That's right.
Oh,
God.
we back. The whole squad is back.
Hey, I don't know what y'all was doing last night.
There's a lot going
You know what I'm saying? Y'all better get ready. We going in today.
Grab your pen and paper. Let's go.
That's right.
Yep, we are in chapter what? The chapter 31?
Yes, sir. Chapter
31,
31.
Right? 31. All praise to the Lord for that. All praise to the Lord for that. We got pretty far. Bishop dropped some major jewels of history last night. Them books is crazy.
Yep.
We have them, as those as well. The bishop is very liberal with the books and sources. We don't share it as much. But a lot of that history he shared last night. Sabbath class ties into what we're going into now. The papal bulls that were passed, the inner cathedra, the dum diversis.
The dumb diverse.
Dumb diversis. I think it's crazy, man. History is crazy. You know how.
And just to say, like, when he was looking at the 1900 to the 2000, when they write to John Paul II, when they told him to, 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 when they to one of those letters said to treat the Indians like human, and they still didn't do it.
Right.
So that means since from that time, that law is still in effect.
Right.
Nothing's changed.
Because
Right.
nobody can change it.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody can change it.
Right. So we're going into the Inquisition, and we're touching on Give Me Babylon and Timbuktu, one of my favorite books, from one of my favorite scholars, Rudolph Windsor. That man was ahead of his time. J.A. Rogers was also ahead of his time. These men were scholars, black scholars, very thorough. A lot of Egyptologists, Negroes hate their guts because they did their research. And we know they did their research because a lot of the research that Rudolph Windsor did, and his sources, we have them. A lot of the books that he cites from in his book, Babylon and Timbuktu, we have. They're credible sources. They're old sources. Some dude in the comment board talking about you guys are reading books, old books, and they're not credible. I'm like, yo,
Wow.
who are you?
Right. What was it?
Shut your
Shut your
black
mouth, man.
Shut your black mouth.
Emotep, and the nigga's always Egyptian, man, all the time. You notice
He
that?
says that we say that they're not credible.
Yeah,
because they're old.
he was basically saying something along the lines of like the books. When the white man refers to Hamites, he's referring to the white man is referring to the Egyptians who he believes is white people. I'm like, no, he's not. When he says Ham, he knows who Ham is.
That's right.
And when he says Negro, he knows who Negroes are. You're just an idiot. If you watch, just do me a favor, just watch part 1 and work your way up to 30 to 31. That's what you do.
Every day.
Right.
Schedule about 2 to 3 hours a day.
Right,
And just
just
watch one
each
chapter a day.
One chapter a day.
And
Take
Deke,
notes.
that's why I had to go off the last time, because here you got historians, anthropologists that studies our history and knows who we are and
Right.
knows there's a difference between a black race and a Negro.
Right.
But yet, niggadomists haven't figured that out yet.
Right. Exactly. This book right here, even this book here is pretty common. This book here, the Atlas of the Transatlantic Slave Trade. This is a really good book. It has all the map routes of the slave trades. Really good stuff in here.
Very good book.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think I have that.
No, you don't have this one. This
What's going on? So we shared it to the people before you share it to me?
That's a setup, bro.
Was that Haitian?
All right, that's what's up. You're my sound man on point right now. Yo, that's a setup, bro.
what
They
I'm
sent it
talking
to
about.
somebody else before you, bro.
so
It's a
here,
setup, bro.
All right. I hope you keep the energy going, bro.
I don't
be
think
messing up.
I gave y'all this book to
Oh, okay.
I don't think I gave y'all this
Cap,
book.
you should have this book, Cap. This is one of the books in the earlier days, man.
Damn, don't have it.
The bishop used this book on Shout Tuesday about the slave route. Guinea, Saint Tome, Island,
Loango.
Luango, yeah,
Luango.
it's all in here.
And Cap, most of the like the camp sign, those are the maps.
Yes, from here. Okay.
Let me order that then.
It's very detailed, very specific on where they got us from and where they took us.
Let's go over the Indian Ocean slave route.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it
does.
do.
Detail?
it shows routes. You got the,
Okay.
And I think it gives you the numbers too, right? How
Okay,
many?
check it out.
Yeah, they give you the numbers of how many they took. It's very detailed. Very detailed. Yep.
I'm trying to see what I'm looking for.
I think it's like $200 for them.
They said Deke mic is low.
Mic is low. Or am I talking low?
Could be.
Yep.
Well, I speak a little louder. I speak louder. I'm sorry if I'm speaking too low. We had a big breakfast, so I'm feeling kind of itis-ish right now.
But yeah, it was definitely heavy last night. What Bishop was bringing out about the Papal bulls, how they started the slave trade, how the with the popes and all them, how they got together, and all the different creeds they was putting out, and it's crazy because they was targeting Africa and America. All right, so they was targeting the two countries where we were. All right, so it's very heavy how everything was put together to take us into slavery, to take the Israelites into slavery and so forth and so on.
So, Officer Judge, from what I picked up from yesterday's class, the beast is being revealed, bro. The
Right.
beast. If you can't tell who the beast is right now, something's wrong with you.
And also Christianity.
Right,
Shows you,
Roman Catholicism
right.
and all that, man.
Those, the Christians, white Christians, they're the one that was doing
Of
that.
course, the beast is in control of all that. Every
this
aspect
page
of life.
Page 1. Just give them this. I don't think they have this one. Give them page 1. Or do you have highlighted? Yeah, I'm gonna show y'all. I showed y'all last week out of that encyclopedia how this is the Arabs and Hamites raided Negro communities. All right, because when you read, as a matter of fact, just to prove that the guy in that book, go back to that again. I think I sent you the screenshot, brothers. IT, the encyclopedia I gave y'all.
Yeah, y'all should have
Africa, Africa. It's page 217. I want to show you something real quick. Just to let you know that the white man knows who Hamites are. They're not white people. Stupid ass people.
Right.
And your asinine comments on my comment board. It's page 2.
Even Bible dictionary.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, just to
Look,
I think he was commenting.
guys are retarded.
Yeah. Yeah. Read the A. The A. Region of Northern Hamites. Read that right there.
Yes, sir. A region of northern Hamites, known to the early Egyptians as Libyans.
Right. So Libyans is not white people. It is a region of northern Hamites, known to the early Egyptians as Libyans. Libya is Put. The biblical name is Put. Okay? You had 4 primary Hamite nations. You had Ethiopians, which comes from Cush. You had Canaan, which represents Sidon. Sidonians, that's them. You have who eventually inhabited parts of North Africa and then eventually west.
Right.
That's where Canaan was. That's who helped sell us. We'll get there in a few seconds. And then you had Cush, Mizraim is Egyptians, and Put, Cush, Mizraim. Who am I missing? And Canaan. Right.
Canaan.
Right. These are Hamite nations. So read it again.
A region of northern Hamites, known to the early Egyptians as Libyans.
Because they're family. There's Mizraim here and Put right here. Go ahead.
And now as Berbers.
And now they're considered Berbers because the Hamitic Berbers resided there first. Before the Semites or Israelites arrived there, you had Hamitic Berbers that were there first. And when we took over, Hannibal and them took over that area, and we became the predominant nation there. We enslaved and eventually intermingled with the Hamite Berbers that were there. Remember I brought the distinction out in that book about Princess Dinah, where it says that she united both Hamitic Berbers and Semitic Berbers against the Muslim, against the Arab invasions.
Right.
But in that book it said Hamitic Berbers and Semitic Berbers. They were Israelites. She was Semitic. All right, read on.
And now as Berbers. The influences deeply affecting the culture of this region are Phoenician.
The influences of this region is Phoenicians, which is Israelites that came over there and took over.
Egyptian.
The Egyptians was first. That name was ancient. Go ahead.
Greek.
Greeks took over also.
Byzantine.
That's the Black Holy Roman Empire. Go ahead.
Roman.
Then the original Roman Empire, Edomite.
And Mohammedan Arab.
And then the Arabs came after. Now jump down to, well, read on.
The camel-keeping cultures of the Sahara, which on the grounds of physical types of people, languages, and minor differences in modes of life give 3 subregions.
Right, go ahead.
The Tuareg.
Tuareg are pure Hamites. Pure Hamites. Go ahead.
The taboo of what's that over there?
Of whom?
Of whom the Teta are a northerly branch of the Tibeti Plateau.
Robert, so read on.
Arabs of the Libyan oasis.
So the Arabs are there also. They moved over there also, and they intermingle with the Tuareg. Because the assessor earlier said the Mohammedan Arab. The Mohammedan Arab, when Islam gained dominion and took over that area where the Berbers are at, the Maghreb, the Hamitic Berbers that were there, and the Ishmaelites intermingled. So if you look up Tuareg now, you'll see them with the Arabic features. So some of them are dark because Ishmael intermingled with them. Okay, that's what happened. But the original Tuareg were Hamites, pure Hamites. And the author says here, Hamites known as Libyans. Libya is Africans. So it's not white people he's referring to. He's referring to black people, indigenous Africans. Okay, then the next page he goes into how Hamites and Arabs raided Negro communities. They know that Negroes are not Hamites. Niggas always want to be Egyptian.
And Deacon,
Y'all guys are retarded.
I got something for you. This is Psalms chapter 105, verse 23.
Yes.
Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham.
Right, in the land of Ham. The land of Ham. The Egyptians, Egypt is called the land of Ham or Ham. Ham, you're going to spit Ham. Kemet is Ham. Chem is Cam. We brought that out also, that book.
Right.
That Chem is Ham, the land of Ham. So now, we got that page I want from that book? Bring the book back. I took a picture of it already. So I'm gonna show y'all. So when the Israelites fled out of Spain and Portugal into Africa, we ran right into the hands of the matter of fact, I forgot the other page too. Let me get the book again. Get it one more time. I left something out. Y'all can go ahead and say something.
And that's okay. And now, and when you look at like today's time, when you look at the North Africa, that's all the Arabs. Ishmael then came in there and you know they took over. Because at the height of Islam, they was coming in there and they was destroying the Hamites or whatever, and they pushed them south. They was pushing the Hamites south. So that's why you got a lot of Ishmael in there now. And our people are still being enslaved by Ishmael in Libya,
Right.
and Morocco, and Mauritania, all in North
Tunisia.
Africa, Tunisia, Algeria. Okay, so that's Ishmael that's there now, but they still mixing among Ham. That's why, like Deacon was saying, that's why they have those features, different features.
Not only that, from the conception of the nation, remember, Jacob was born in Egypt, a black nation.
Right.
And being a black nation, there was only one Edomite nation. And like even like said, the Egyptians, which they confuse today as to be some people mistake the Egyptians to be Caucasian because of the Ptolemaic dynasty. And Ptolemaic, how he started chopping off the nose. But from our very conception, we always inhabited the land of what we know as today as Africa. And we also established colonies. So Northeast Africa, whether it be Egypt, and that's why you have Alexandria, one of the biggest libraries there. We had a lot of our books there, and that's why you have the Septuagint, that a lot of Israelites were brought to Alexandria to translate the books. And we established land, as Deacon went over before, Carthage, Libya, and that's why in Acts, you have the Cyrenicians, you have the Libanians. What is it, Libyan?
What?
In Acts chapter 1.
Acts 2.
Cyrenaica.
Cyrenaica, and it's a Libertines.
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 Nah, let me look at. Let me check it
no.
out. Let me check it out.
But Mike went up. But shown that Israel always had colonies set up in Africa.
Yeah.
And we always dealt with each other. That's why Joseph was able to go to Africa, Egypt, primarily because why? Let me get Maccabees chapter 2.
Yeah, you're right. It was Libya. It was Libya.
Yeah,
Libya about Cyrene.
Yeah.
Right.
So first Maccabees. So the only confusion today between the two nations, between Ham and Israel, is the skin tone. And it's the confusion between us and not the other nations. There's always been a clear distinction, whether it be Negro lands. Even in the books, they said Hamitic descent, Libyans, Cyrene. And then when it comes to us, they always says Negroid. Negroid people.
Or Afro.
Or Afro. What is that, Maccabees?
Second Maccabees chapter 1.
Verse 2.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 2.
Start at verse 1.
Verse 1. The brethren, the Jews that be at Jerusalem and in the land of Judea, which unto the brethren, the Jews that are throughout Egypt, health and peace.
So we always had a line of communication going throughout Africa. During the time of Jeroboam, we always had Israelites in Africa. Jeroboam, Syrian captivity, we always fled to Africa as a place of refuge.
Right. Was that Isaiah 11?
Yeah, for the page.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Jeremiah 46. Yep, Jeremiah 46.
All right, Jeremiah. 44. Jeremiah 44 and 1. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwelled in the land of Egypt.
All the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt. And this was during the what? The Babylonian captivity.
Sir.
Prior to what? The Maccabees, the Greek captivity. So all throughout history, Africa, Israel is in Africa. We just moved deeper down into Africa. That's it. We established the West Coast as well as the Eastern Africa. And that's why you have the East African slave trade, and the vast majority of the Israelites taking it from Tunisia. They was taking it from, not Yemen, they was taking it from Eritrea.
Eritrea, yes.
Eritrea, Ethiopia.
Yeah, Abyssinia, as they call it. Ethiopia, same place.
And also, that's why when you read in Matthews, that's why the angel told Joseph to flee into Egypt. We already had communities there already. You know? Y'all got the page?
It should be the forward page. Forward.
Officer Manny, you got it? You good?
All right, let's get it. All right. Yeah, I want to show y'all something really quick to show that there's a distinction. Even this book gives clarity on the distinction.
Hey, Deke, I have something also. Second book. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, you got it?
Officer Manny, you good over there, man? But yeah, so as we go into this class, you know, as far as the Spanish Inquisition and everything that took place, how Esau came together strategically to first off to get us out of Spain, to expel us out of Spain, and then how they put the like Bishop was bringing out with the Papal Bull, how they put all that together, man. All right, and went down into Africa. You know, because actually we fled into Africa. Then they came behind us and found us in Africa, made war with us in Africa, set us against the Hamites and the Arabs in Africa. All right, and raided our communities, and then had us enslaved. Okay, and brought us over here.
It's like that lamentation, man. The 100 steps.
They hunt our steps. All right.
What's interesting too is there's no talk about world history, other nations, without including Jewry, without speaking of the scattered people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we just got to understand what role we played in different nations as scattered people.
Right.
You know, when Columbus was gathering slaves, he knew who he was going for. So he had knowledge of the scattered people. And I think this is the most difficult thing for our people today. You know what I'm saying? Getting the understanding or know how important it is for identity. And this history is piecing the puzzle together.
Right. Piecing everything together.
Yep.
Can we read that? Lamentation? For Deacon?
You pulled it up?
Y'all ready?
We don't know.
Let's read that. Lamentation 4, verse 18.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets.
Right, so like officer just was saying earlier, they knew who they was coming for. So they hunt us after we got kicked out of Spain, ran to Africa. They came right up, behind us. They're hunting us down. Go ahead.
Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled.
Right, because Deuteronomy 28 has to be fulfilled. Go ahead.
For our end is come.
19.
Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven.
Right. See, the Most High tell you who they are.
Yep.
The symbol of these Edomites are what? The eagles. Spain, eagles. The Romans eagles, the Greek eagles. So go ahead.
They pursue us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness.
Right. So wherever we was at, we was hiding. They knew and they came for us because our end was near. Because Deuteronomy 28 had to be fulfilled.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got it now? Come on, y'all. Come on. Let's go. Give me the forward. I want to start at since Brazil. Start at since Brazil. Blow it up some. We don't do all that page.
Since Brazil and the Caribbean formed the very heart of the Atlantic slave system, attracting some 90% of all the slaves imported from Africa, and since the production of sugar dominated the economies of both regions, even a brief summary of slave trade history should mention the ancient westward migration of sugarcane cultivation from Asia to the medieval Middle East and then the Mediterranean. Italian merchants were at the forefront in developing sugar production in regions of Cyprus, Crete, and Sicily, and finally in helping the Iberians extend the system for slave-grown sugarcane to Atlantic islands off the west coast of Africa in the 1400s. The Madeira Islands, the Canaries, the Cape Verdes, and San Tome.
Those are all sugarcane plantations eventually. Go ahead.
By coincidence, after the capture of Constantinople in 1204 in the Fourth Crusade, Italians had established slave trading ports along the northern coast of the Black Sea, much as later European merchants would do along the western coast of Africa. Over the course of nearly 2.5 centuries, the Genoese and the Venetians purchased thousands of captive Aromanians, Circassians, Mingrelins, Tatars, and Bulgarians, people whose vague ethnic status as Slavs became the origin of the word for slave in Western European languages.
Like Yugoslavia, Slavic peoples. You had Edomites that were pretty much enslaved. Other Edomites they deemed that they were inferior, like lower class Edomites, pretty much. I showed y'all before when the Moors took over. We were buying these women. We were buying slaves from these areas too, Edomite slaves. And then Edomites took over, did the same thing. Go ahead.
Slaves were highly prized from Muslim Egypt and Syria to Sicily and eastern Spain, and some were used for the production of sugar, a labor-intensive industry favored by few free workers. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks
the Ottoman Turks is Ishmael. Go ahead.
Captured Constantinople and soon diverted the flow of Black Sea and Balkan captives to Islamic markets.
And soon diverted the flow of Black Sea and Balkan captives to Islamic markets. This is the trans-Saharan slave trade right here. Go ahead.
Although this conquest sharply reduced Europe's supply of both sugar and slaves, the Portuguese had already begun importing significant numbers of black African slaves, who by 1550 constituted 10% of Lisbon's population. And even in Sicily, Naples, southern France, and Mediterranean Spain, the slave population began to blacken.
So they went from having Edomite servants to black slaves. This is areas in Spain. This is they had black slaves in Sicily, Naples, southern France, which would be Septimania, Mediterranean, Spain. No, I think that's France. Septimania is France. Mediterranean, Spain, and the slave population began to blacken. Go ahead.
In part owing to the Arab caravan trade across the Sahara.
See, because of the Arab caravan trade across the Sahara, because the Ottoman Turks took over when Israel fled from Spain and Portugal into Africa. They ran into the Ottoman Turks, who enslaved us and we involved us in the trans-Saharan slave trade in these areas. Go ahead.
Which led to black slave exports from Libya and Tunisia.
Which led from where?
Which led to black slave exports from Libya and Tunisia.
From black slave exports from Libya and Tunisia, Carthage. Because when Israel fled to Spain and Portugal, back into Africa, we ran into the hands of the Arabs, the Turks, Edomites and Arabs mixed together. Go ahead.
In Sicily, a notary's record in Latin referred to sclavi, negre, literally black Slavs, who outnumbered white slaves there by the 1490s. In short, as the population
they had white slaves who would conquer other white colonies, whatever. They eventually let them go. They said, we don't need these white slaves no more. Use the negri, Slavi negri, meaning the black slaves instead. They replaced them. Go ahead.
In short, as the production of Europe's sugar moved westward into the Atlantic and increased in volume, although consumption was still limited to a medicinal and upper-class market, medicinal and upper-class market, it became almost wholly dependent on black slave labor.
Right, it became most wholly dependent on black. So now, slave labor. Now, go to the next page. Jump down to the strength and capacity.
The strength and capacity of most West Africans bring us to a subject that is both surprising and upsetting to many uniformed readers. The indispensable complicity...
No, uninformed readers.
Mm-hmm. The indispensable complicity of Africans in creating and maintaining the slave trade. Even in the earliest history of the trade, the Portuguese discovered the extreme hazards and counterproductivity of trying to capture and enslave West Africans on their own.
Exactly. We knew the land. So it's hard to catch us. Go ahead.
West Africans could and did attack and sink some European ships in retaliation. The rulers of Congo, Benin, and some other regions succeeded at times in temporarily stopping the trade in slaves. Yet, the crucial point was the eagerness of African rulers and merchants to sell slaves.
Yet the crucial point was the eagerness of African rulers and merchants to sell slaves. Watch this.
Similarity in skin color and other bodily traits, as Europeans viewed them.
So they saw the Africans and the Negroes that they were selling. They were dark and had some similar features. Watch this.
Brought African rulers and merchants no sense of a common African identity with the captive soul.
So despite us looking alike, they didn't find any common identity with them because they were not selling their own. The Africans were not selling their own people. They were selling a different people from themselves to the white man, to the Arabs. I'm going to show you that in a few seconds. Go to page, the highlighter one. Page 1, introduction. Start of all societies.
All societies had fairly clear ideals of who could and could not be enslaved. In early 16th century, African conceptions of eligibility embraced a smaller geographic area than the European conception did. Both buyers, Europeans, and sellers, Africans, saw the people traded into captivity on the African coast as outsiders, although the identities that made trade impossible did not remain constant over time.
So the Africans that sold us into slavery, they saw us as outsiders, meaning the people they were selling were not Hamites. They were Israelites. Hamites said, you guys can buy and sell these guys here. These are not people. These are Israelites. We know where you can find Israelites at. So Africans are not selling their own people. They were selling people who they deemed outsiders. Outsiders, all right? Now, hold on. There's one area I was trying to see if I can find that one. Let me see. Hold on a second. It's not on this page and to get it on. That's all I want. That's enough. So now let's get Babylon Timbuktu. Let's get Babylon Timbuktu.
Yep. And just like he says, we look alike. We look, with the skin color, but we're not the same.
Right, and they knew that, and the Africans knew that. They said, these are not people.
And even like in Exodus 11, when you read...
oh, you had something in that book, right, Jez? I'm sorry. You had something in that book, Jez?
Yes, sir. To back up what you was saying.
I'm sorry, Carl. You were saying? I'm going to cut you off.
Sorry, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to back up what you were saying. Also, I remember, I think Deacon Laba was bringing it out, and Bishop also yesterday in class, how that they knew exactly who they was coming for. It was no mistake. It wasn't no coincidence.
Right.
None of that. So this book kind of goes into what leadership was saying yesterday also, and it goes perfect with this. Take a picture of the page right here. All right.
Only one. He says give him to him.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's that Joel 3 right there.
They knew what they were selling.
They knew who they was getting.
They knew what they were selling. They weren't confused.
And
We're confused. They weren't confused.
Yeah.
like I was going to say earlier with Exodus 11,
11 and 7.
and 7, yeah. Because there's a difference, you know, the Most High said a difference between us.
Right, despite features, right.
Right. 'Cause you could tell the Hamite, man, they look ashy and dusty.
Right. And they knew our customs. They knew all of that. The culture,
Yeah, we dress different.
dress different.
The smell different.
Smell, all of that, man.
And if you look at the curses, people fail to realize a lot of times we try to make the distinctions by going to some of these references, the books, to show the difference between the two. Because some people in the world, our people say that, oh, Africans were selling Africans. And we bring out the scriptures and they still have that notion in mind that, no, Africans were still selling Africans based upon the geographical location, the skin tone, and the customs that we were keeping. You see? We see black people in America doing the same dance as the black people in Africa. So we have to be the same. Not know that these curses are like heat-seeking missiles. The heat-seeking missiles has a target on point, and it only pursues that target and with which, you know,
That's heavy. That's
it's
right.
following. So that goes with Deuteronomy 28, verse 45.
So
Can you read that?
The Most High put that heat on our ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
There wasn't no escaping that thing, man.
there's no escape. The curses are discriminative.
Yeah, you're going to follow you wherever
It's
you
going to
go.
follow them wherever you go. The
That's the
curse is going
heat.
to follow. You're going to go to a cave. Guess what? Heat-seeking missiles to detect that heat and follow you, pursue you into that cave until it destroys you.
I have it right there.
Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee.
So the Bible says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon us. I mean, so for something to come upon you, it covers you. That's why you look at the conditions of our people, you look at the facial expressions, the trauma that they suffer. It's because the curses has come upon them as became a part of us and to the very moment that's niche into our DNA. And the curses are displayed through our children's children because they carry the curses throughout the DNA. And scientists did an article about that curses are generational. And it's passed down through the DNA of the parents.
It's the trauma of slavery is genetic.
It's genetic.
This is going to consume you.
Read it again.
And look at our people, they're consumed.
It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee
So the curses shall come upon the Israelites. Read.
and pursue thee.
And pursue you. That's the heat-seeking missiles. No matter where you go, you can go to the mountains thinking you're safe. You can go to Africa, deep into Africa, try to blend in amongst the villages. Even blending in amongst the villages, I forgot where it was. It was in East Africa and Zanzibar. There was about, out of all the people that were sold in Zanzibar, the Arabs came and took specific tribes. It was like 12 names. I have the book. But it's 12 names of specific tribes. They say they were the Bantu-speaking people, not the Nilotic. They left the Nilotic alone, but they took specifically, there's 18 different families, specifically, and they sold them to Zanzibar, and they shipped them out to the Indian Ocean, slave trade.
Because those Nilos, that's ham.
Yeah, they knew it.
The Nilos.
That's not who we looking
crazy.
for. We want them over there.
Specifically went after them.
Wow.
Read.
And overtake thee.
And what?
Overtake thee.
Overtake you. No matter how successful, how many great colonies we built, how many great empires, the Empire of Timbuktu or the Ghanaian Empire. You have the Ashanti Empire. Great empires established in Africa. No matter what happened, it will overtake us. It'll conquer and overthrow us as a nation. Read.
Till thou be destroyed.
Until we were destroyed. Heat-seeking missiles. It pursued us, it found us, it sought us out, and it destroyed us. So you could have your scholarly arguments. You can go back and forth about the skin tone, the language. You can go back and forth about the customs. But at the end of the day, the curses of God is a deciding factor. It's discriminative.
Right.
It's divisive. And it knows who's pursuing, just like with the destroyer.
Yep.
The destroyer knew who was coming after. And it killed specifically, this destroyer came specifically and killed those people in which it was intended for.
Right.
No mistakes.
No mistakes. You
Got
got the book?
bullseye on our back.
You got the book? Put the book up.
Pull the book up. Pull the book up. Price and Perception, chapter 1.
All right, so it says most white colonists, Peter would suggest in his recent study, would have marveled at the ignorance of their descendants, who asserted blindly that all Africans looked the same. In fact, European colonists concerned themselves quite closely with distinctions among African peoples and paid great attention to such things as size, color, and cultural and other characteristics. This concern has long been recognized as having been present in Latin America and perhaps to a lesser extent in the West Indies. On the continent, quite as much as in the islands, British colonists were also concerned about where they got their slaves, what they looked like, and how they performed, because potential customers had these concerns.
Yeah.
Moreover, merchants in Britain and America tried to cater to them, and one of the determinants of slave prices in South Carolina was the bondman's provenance.
Well, 1 second. Deke, if you selling a product, you got to know your product, right?
Yes, you do.
You know what I'm saying? They
all know it.
remember in Django, he had the skull of his former slaves.
Ben.
And he's studying the skull. Why do they behave like that? So in other words, they had to study us and know the product that they were selling.
Right. Remember that book we have, the book the bishop brought out, and we have also it says the skulls,
Right.
the crania. The crania aegyptica is different from the crania americana.
Right.
Regarding the Negroes, that the slave skulls found in Egypt were relegated to the same conditions they were in the Americas.
And there was an article brothers just put up in a group.
Yeah, I was
Philadelphia,
talking
you're
about
looking for
that,
that,
yeah.
right? Philadelphia has a whole bunch of African slave skulls.
Yeah.
They have those illegally. Why do you have the skulls? We are still being studied.
And also, remember the movement when they bombed them?
Yes, the little boy, 14-year-old boy,
Right.
they kept his bones.
And the parents didn't even know that.
They didn't know. Yep.
And also in that same book, they said that the actual slave traders they were more
Is that it in that book?
Yes, sir. That's it on that.
Okay.
The slave traders were more exact on where they was getting the slaves and so forth, because that was just the customers. But the slave traders, the merchants were more exact because they was actually on the coast. They was on the coast, so they really knew who they was going to get. So they were more
Right.
exact with pinpointing who's who.
They knew who was who. That's why they brought the slaves to those areas they wanted to bring them to. They knew exactly who they were. They knew exactly what tribe it was and where to bring them to meet the rest of their brothers on their side of the world. Oh, some of your brothers deny the 12 tribes. It's okay. You going ahead. Page 117.
Real quick,
Yeah.
this was the article. Pennsylvania Museum apologized for an unethical collection of enslaved
Stand up.
black people.
Stand up.
All right, they'll be able to do it? All right, go ahead.
But while they
Deacon.
doing it, let the
Yeah, go ahead, Deacon.
Yeah.
Babylon, just still go to page 117. Now let us. And Babylon Timbuktu. Now let us. We're going to end at all areas.
That's good. Now let us return to the Jews of North Africa. Spain, with the influx of tens of thousands of black Jews from Spain and Portugal seeking refuge in African ports, Morocco received a great share. But before this date, many Jewish tribes are entrenched in Fez, the Atlas, and the desert. In Morocco, there was a revival of Moorish and Jewish science in all areas. The Hebrew Academy in Fez competed with the one in Khorasan, Algeria. There were many debates and lectures between the sages and scholars of these schools. Eldad the Danite, a Hebrew from the Jewish kingdom of Ghana, visited these schools in the 9th century. There was a celebrated Hebrew college at Sejamisa in the desert, south of Fez. The school of Sejamisa produced many illustrious scholars. There were grammarians, masters of Talmudic law, poets, and philologists. This period of Jewish scholarship came to an end when the fanatical Almohads, Unitarians, went on the warpath in 1145 and destroyed the city of Sejamisa. This reign of terror was carried out against all non-Muslims. Concerning the destruction of Sejamisa, Ibn Ezra writes, I say, let there be mourning for the community of Sejamisa, city of great scholars and sages. She sees her light covered with shadows. The pillars and the Tammuz were shattered. The temple of law was destroyed, and the Mishnah was trodden underfoot. There are many Jewish tribes and settlements throughout Morocco and the Sahara Desert. The Ed Musa, or Ben Musa, sons of Moses, is one of the spectacular Jewish tribes. Leo Africanus, a Moorish converted Jew, states that the Jews of North Africa are of hybrid quality. They have proselytized and intermarried among the Greeks, Vandals, Romans, Spaniards, and Portuguese.
Where's all areas at? You passed it? All areas? Was it the next
Yeah, I
page?
passed it. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's fine. Go to so the Israelites was in Africa and Sahara and so forth. That's what I want to read it for. Go to page 1. Go to Africa, a book called Africa, volume 2. And the Inhabitants, volume 2, on page 137.
Understand? We were an omnipresent people
Right.
everywhere.
We established we had universities and schools in these areas before the Almohads. Almohads is pretty much Ishmael. What was that? That was us.
Yeah, the Almohads, that was us. Remember
Now-
that we took over Spain. We was that next wave.
Yeah, that was us. The Almohads is us on the Islamic regime. And we conquered anything, and whatever was not Muslim, we destroyed it pretty much. Unitarian means we wanted everybody to be under one religion. So if it wasn't Islam, no Bible, none of that Bible stuff. You want Islam only. Almohads is us. Almohads, and then you had the Amarivides. Amarivides. After that, Amavirids. Almohads is first, and Amavirids, and you had the Umayyad before that. That's Ishmael. The Umayyad dynasty.
And understand, we had we were the Harvards at that time. We were the
Warriors.
The schools, the Ivy Leagues at that time period. There was no before Harvard and your Stanford, Princeton, and all those Ivy League schools. These were the real universities over in Africa,
Right.
that we had set up.
Right. And we had those schools like Oxford and Westminster. That was our schools too over there in Europe. That was our schools.
Before Esau.
Cambridge, that was us.
That was us.
The Bible was translated in Cambridge. That's our school. Okay? That was us.
Esau does what he do best.
Steals and lies and claims.
And the laws were being taught in those schools.
Right. It said the laws are
Right.
the laws.
Laws being taught, science, math, all of that.
Dick, you mind if I bring this out real quick?
You go ahead.
This is an example of studying your product, studying your goods. Put that up for me. Make sure you go to the article. Just 2 quick paragraphs, just to prove the point that we're going into right now. About your possessors, they know who we are, they know where to get us from, and even after you die, they are infatuated with you. They are infatuated with your bones.
They kept Geronimo's skull.
Right.
And they kept Nat Turner's body too. Turned him into a lamp. They sick bastards, man. I think they took Geronimo's skull. They kept that. I think what's the name kept it? Skull and Crossbones, that Masonic group. They kept his skull, and somebody else's skull they kept too.
All right. Blow that up. Go ahead, Jess.
I think Nat Turner's skull. Nat Turner's skull, yeah, they kept his too.
I made the point out.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Just 2 paragraphs in there. Blow that up. Blow that up so you can see it. All right. You see that? Go to the title.
Pennsylvania Museum apologizes for an unethical skull collection of enslaved black people.
Unethical skull collection of enslaved black people. Now, we got to keep in mind, slavery did not happen to the dark races like it happened to the Negro. That's the reason why you see such title. We got?
A Pennsylvania museum is apologizing after they displayed stolen human skulls of black people in an exhibit.
Uh-huh.
The skulls of black people, some hundred of years old, are said to be given back their communities of origin for reburial. Per a statement from the University of Pennsylvania's Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology.
See what I'm saying? Now, they studying our people even when we die. Go 1 more paragraph, scroll up. It says the skull. Keep going. It says, wait, let me see. The skull of black people, it starts with. Keep going.
The
All right, go back. Real quick.
the black human skulls.
No. Go down. Why is it? That's not what I'm seeing.
Right here. The skull, right here.
The human skulls, yeah, the human skulls. The black human skull. Right there.
The black human skulls were a part of an array of human skulls that totaled out to nearly 900. The skulls were obtained by Philadelphia scientist Dr. Samuel Morton during the early 19th century. That's the same guy. He was
Morton.
Morton.
That's it. That's that book.
He was one of the founding fathers of racism in the country.
Right?
The hell is this?
Go ahead.
As most of his work was based on finding racial differences between different races of people. He is often referred to as the father of scientific racism.
Scientific racism. So you got the racism in the science world. So their pharmaceutical, their drugs they concoct may work for their nation, but it's there to kill you because there's a science behind it. That's the witchcraft behind it.
Also, eugenics.
Read the next.
And first of all, he's not the founding father of racism. The founding father of racism is George Washington.
Scientific
Scientific
racism. Yep.
Meaning he was studying the skull because they wanted to prove that we were inferior.
Right.
That was the whole point.
Right. But they discovered that we were the ones that were the slaves in Egypt.
Right.
We were not the children of Pharaoh. We were the children of the slaves of Pharaoh. That's what they discovered with the doing their research. That's the Egyptica Crania. That's that same book by Morton and them.
Right.
And also,
The next paragraph.
Read the next paragraph.
During his research and practice, he came to the false conclusion that a larger cranium meant greater intelligence. He went on to write his racist beliefs in the 1839 book Crania Americana.
That's it.
Most of the black human skulls Morton has were given to him by grave robbers.
Wow.
Bishop said it like that. Why we don't shoot Indiana Jones?
Right, Raiders, right. Grave robbers. These are Raiders.
And I remember you bought a book like that too when about the conversos when they
They raided the bones.
they
Yeah.
bones and they burned their bones.
Yo,
Right.
Jeremiah 8, man.
Jeremiah 8.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's
That-
right.
that's a curse
Yeah.
that followed us.
Yep.
Morton, where we at?
Most black.
Given to him by grave robbers who would dig up the bodies of poor black Americans at their burial grounds in Philadelphia, right here in Philly,
Right here.
Pottersville.
We got history. You know what I mean? We got history. And that's why they keep Philadelphia so impoverished. There's so much history to learn about this place, but, you know, Philadelphians are too busy killing each other, selling drugs into Islam. This profound history that's you sitting on, you don't even know it.
And that's the same thing in that movie, Them. Remember when she was put in that crazy house,
Right.
and then the dude with the devil came to her. She's like, yeah, that's why I'm gonna let them take your brain. Remember?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Before she escaped, and she said, yeah, I'm gonna let them take your brain. And they was about to inject her. Then when she got escaped, that's
Right.
crazy.
You have that book, Africa and its Inhabitants? Did I ever read that book here before? It's called Africa and its Inhabitants. I gotta reveal it because I won't. Only way you'll know is if I say the whole thing. Africa and its Inhabitants. Did I ever bring that here before? I probably didn't. I bought the wrong
I
book
think I
here.
brought it before. Is it the same one?
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah,
Huh? Yeah, I didn't bring that book yet.
yeah, I didn't give up the title though.
What page you looking for, Deacon?
137 and 138.
Probably can get it.
You have it in the car?
No, I'm saying on the phone. I could look it up.
All right. So give me before the Mayflower then. In the meantime, because I don't have that book on me right now.
You know what volume it was?
2.
Okay. I also want to going back to the skulls. Also, recently a brother, I think he's a football player. He just killed his family, and he killed himself.
Yeah, I remember that
And
story.
now they sending his skull to get because they want to see some type of psychology. You know, the same thing they doing now, but they doing it with our people. They still doing it to this day.
To this day,
Yeah,
studying the product.
they're studying the brain to see because of the hits. You know.
The football players, right?
Football
Yep.
players, yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah, right. That's what it's exactly.
And it goes back to this is Psalm chapter 64, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Now do what you're doing, Jez. I'll read it. I'll read because, you know, other than you.
Damn.
La boule.
Oh,
Sapase.
Oh, no.
oh.
Oh man.
And it begins. And it begins.
Bro.
Yo, where that sound effect?
Bro,
Say it.
it's a setup, bro.
Don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer.
That's a setup, bro.
Yeah. Don't answer. Look quick. It's a setup, bro.
It's a son. Hey, hi. You want to try?
Sir, you have the floor. sir.
Go ahead. Read.
No,
Sir.
you-
Psalm
you have-
64, verse 6.
Psalm. All right, hold on. I'm saying.
Oh no.
I already know. It's a setup, bro. Psalm chapter 64 and verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
So we use this, like I said, to reference the archaeology, the different artifacts that they find in ancient Egypt. And we think that it's used just for relics, artifacts, just to show in a museum. No. Like I said, a lot of these studies that they're doing, it's to study the mind of the black man. There's certain parts of our brain and functions within our brains in which certain things work. Like one part of your brain works memory. Another part of your brain is long-term memory, short-term memory. You have another part of your brain which actually it has the pleasure receptors. So there's different parts of the brain that the human body shows how the human body functions. Read it again.
They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thoughts of every one of them, and the heart is deep.
The heart is deep. How do you figure out the way of people think and the psychology behind them? By studying the cranium. Think about how do you know these different parts of the brain? Oh, this side of your brain controls your emotion. This side of the brain is your dopamine levels, your pleasure.
Your dreams are here.
Your dreams. Could they study whose brain? Our brain. So that's how, like I said, that's how they know how to deal with us, how to set up the society. And not knowing, people realize the whole society, America, is set up around the Israelites to keep, they exploit us. They studied us. They studied the psychology of the Israelites. And what happens? They set up a society, a sinful nature based upon what's in us. What makes them mad?
Right.
What makes them sad? Okay, let's set up the buildings. Let's put them in projects.
Right.
Let's put them in high-rising buildings. Let's put them together. What happened if we put? Let's effeminize their men, and let's prostitute their women.
The hell is this?
Yep. Hey, Cap. Necrophilia still falls under them tampering with the bones, right? It's the bones of the dead. Them being infatuated with our skulls and our bones still fall under the category of necrophilia, right? They're infatuated with the Jew like that. Hate.
Yep. You got it? Before the Mayflower? Yes, sir. Page 34. I want the most important. You found it, Jez?
No, sir. Is it on West Africa? Because it's a lot of
Yeah.
volumes. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of volumes.
West Africa, yes. Volume 2. Page 34. Cap, you read in the meantime, Cap, until he gets.
Yes, sir. Where do you want me to start?
137 to the end. Page 137, the beginning of
The beginning of the
137.
most important.
Yeah.
The
No.
most-
The beginning of page 137, the beginning of it. Yeah, the most important. We'll go up to the top. Is there more? It cuts off there. All right, so it started, but it was not to be. And then we're going to read into page 138.
But it was not to be. While the bright young black men were feasting in the courts of Lisbon, while the eager black priests were genuflecting in the courts of the Vatican, events were happening in the outer world that would destroy the dream and change Europe and Africa forever. The most important of these events was the European discovery of America and opening of the New World. It is a point of paradoxical interest that descendants of the first black captives, black Christians born in Spain and Portugal.
Black Christians born where?
Born in Spain and Portugal.
Born in Spain and Portugal. Go ahead. Black Christians, go ahead.
Were with the first European explorers and settlers. Black explorers, servants, slaves, and free men. Accompanied Spanish and Portuguese explorers.
Wait. I'm on the wrong page. What the hell are you reading from? I'm in the wrong page. 1 second. Read the most important events again.
The most important of these events was the European discovery of America and an opening of the New World. It is a point of paradoxical interest that descendants of the first black captives, Black Christians born in Spain and Portugal were with the first European explorers and settlers.
Right? Black Christians born in Spain and Portugal were with the first European explorers, meaning Columbus. Columbus. Black Christians or Jews who were converted to Christianity were with Columbus, were with Cortez. They came over here with them because they had the choice. They could either be expelled or sold in slavery in Spain and Portugal or travel on the voyage and play their role as Columbus's servants on the ship and be his translators to speak to the Native Americans in the side of the world. Go ahead, watch this.
Can you move the picture out of the... Okay. Black explorers, servants, slaves, and free men accompanied Spanish and Portuguese explorers in the expeditions in North and South America.
These are referred to as Latinos, Latinized Negroes or the freemen. Like that Negro of a guy's name. The guy I mentioned before, the Ladino, the Juan Guerrero. Him. He's a free that represents him. All right, go ahead.
They were with Pizarro in Peru.
See with Pizarro, go ahead.
Cortez in Mexico.
That's Guerrero. Go ahead.
And Menendez in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
30 blacks were with Balboa when he discovered the Pacific Ocean. Perhaps the best known of the early black explorers was Estevanico, who opened up New Mexico and Arizona for the Spaniards.
There you go. Go ahead.
Other blacks, W.E.B. Du Bois said, accompanied by De Soto, and one of them stayed among the Indians in Alabama and became the first settler from the Old World.
See that? Go ahead. Yeah, Jake that stayed here and settled down with a family. Go ahead.
Spaniards, who took the lead in the exploration, attempted to first to enslave the Indians. But they died so fast that Bishop Bartolome Las Casas, a famous missionary, recommended in 1517 the importation of Africans.
Israelites.
A recommendation he lived to regret.
Because the Native Americans were dying. So rather than using Native Americans as slaves, bring the Negroes over here as slaves instead. They're stronger. But that was even worse. Go ahead.
The development of large-scale sugar planting created a demand for men that casual kidnapping couldn't supply.
See that? The sugar cane, but they're early in the other book. Go ahead.
In the wake of the development, the vision of European monarchs shifted, and the African-European dialogue became a monologue, focused almost exclusively in a trade in men. Within a few years, hundreds of thousands of blacks were crossing the Atlantic each year, and the soil of Africa and America was drenched with their blood.
Damn. Go ahead.
Strange, said Eric Williams, that an article like sugar, so sweet and necessary to human existence, should have occasioned such crimes and bloodshed.
Damn. Read on.
An estimated 1 million of slaves found their way to the land that became the United States of America. But the first black immigrants, and Antony, Isabella, and Jamestown group.
Hold on. But the first black immigrants brought over here was Anthony, Isabella. These are Spanish names. Why? Because the Jews were living in Spain. We had Spanish names. And it says, in the Jamestown group, that's Jamestown, Virginia, that ship was hijacked. Okay? I believe it was a ship being brought. They were bringing them over to somewhere, some Portuguese or Spanish plantation area.
To Seville?
I think so, yeah.
Seville,
and they
Spain.
got hijacked, and they dropped it, and they hijacked it, dropped it off at Virginia, Jamestown, and said, "We don't need you. We want the stuff on the ship. We don't want you. You guys can go free." So the blacks that was on that ship in 1619, they were supposed to be sold. There was a Spanish slave ship. It was hijacked, I think, by the British, something like that. They took it, dropped it off in Virginia, dropped the Negroes off, like 10 to 20 of them on the ship in 1619.
That's in before the Mayflower.
Right.
Yeah.
This is book.
Yeah.
Dropped them off right there. They lived free. And then in 1640, they began to enslave us in that area. But 1619, we were good. We were free. We had servants. We had servants. We had land. We were good. So that's why it's the Jamestown group. Go ahead. And the Jamestown group were what? But the first black
immigrants, Anthony, Isabella, and a Jamestown group.
And the Jamestown, that ship, 1619.
Were not slaves.
They were not slaves when they got off them ships. They were not slaves when they arrived here. Go ahead.
This is a fact of critical importance in the history of
Black America.
Black America.
Come on.
They came, these first blacks, the same way that many, perhaps most, of the first whites came. Under duress, that's duress, right?
Under duress.
Under duress and pressure.
Right. Remember the Jews got you. The Jews were fleeing from Spain and Portugal, so they were able to get in the ships. Remember the Portuguese had already conquered. The Spanish had conquered the Americas. So when the Spanish had conquered the Americas, a lot of our brothers and sisters who are from Spain and Portugal were able to hop on these ships with the whites, okay, and live here, free with the whites, to free what? Religious persecution. And then they brought the Inquisition to this side of the world. I'm gonna get to that later on.
And
the Inquisition extended from the Spain and Portugal into the Americas. That's what happened. That's what you had the Puritans came over here. Whites wanted to be. They had their own ideology. The Moors and Jews had our customs over here. That's what happened. That's why a lot of those Jews came to Columbus on this side of the world. They figured, well, you know what? We can't be Jews over there. We can be Jews here. And then Esau said, oh, where you trying to escape at the heat-seeking missile again? All right? You got something, Cat?
I might have something for you.
Let's keep going then.
Yes, sir. Where is that? Okay.
They found a system.
They found a system, indentured servitude,
Then you work for some amount of time, and then you go free. Go ahead.
which enabled poor whites to come to America and sell their services for a stipulated number of years to planters.
This is primarily Irish. A lot of the Irish were involved in this indentured servitude. Go ahead.
Under the system, thousands of whites, paupers,
Near-duels.
ne'er-do-wells.
Near-duels.
Ne'er-do-wells. You gotta say ne'er-do-wells.
Near-duels.
Ne'er-do-wells. Religious dissenters.
Meaning whites who are not down with the Catholic religion. Go ahead.
Waifs, prisoners, and prostitutes were shipped to the colonies and sold to the highest bidder.
Go ahead.
Some were sold. The first blacks were sold by the captains of ships. Some were kidnapped on the streets of London and Bristol.
Whoa, wait. Some were kidnapped and sold in the streets of London and Bristol. Go ahead.
As the first blacks were kidnapped in the forests of Africa.
Go ahead. So this also, but you also had slave trading going on in London as well. Go ahead.
In Virginia.
That was referring to white people, but jakes were also being sold from that area too. Go ahead.
In Virginia, then, as in other colonies, the first black settlers fell into a well-established socioeconomic groove, which carried with it the implications of racial inferiority. That came later.
So it says in Virginia, then, as in other colonies, the first black settlers there, that's 1619, fell into a well-established socioeconomic groove, which carried with it no implications of racial inferiority. We lived free. We lived well in 1619. The common misconception is that, the first slaves arrived here 1619. They were bought as slaves, but when that ship got hijacked and they got dropped off, they weren't slaves anymore. They said, "You go. We don't want you. We don't want you on the ship. We want the products you have that's on the ship with you." All right. So these blacks that arrived here in Virginia, they were not slaves. Go ahead.
Can you move the pic? Thank you.
And they lived well. Go ahead.
That came later. But in the interim, a period of 40 years or more.
So it says implications of racial inferiority. That came later. That's 1640. The slavery and inferiority thing came like decades later. Go ahead.
The first black settlers accumulated land, voted, testified in a court, and mingled with whites on a basis of inequality.
Initially. Go ahead.
They owned other black servants.
You did.
And certain blacks imported and paid for white servants whom they apparently held in servitude.
We had indentured servants of our own people, in our own land. Go ahead.
During these fateful 40 years, the black population of the Virginia colony grew by natural additions and importations. In 1620, the James arrived from England with a number of immigrants, including a black man named Antonio.
Antonio,
In 1623, the Swan arrived with still another black from England, a man named John Pedro. In 1623 or 1624, as we have seen, Isabella, the wife of Antony, gave birth to what was probably the first black child born in America. the New American, the first of a long black line that would swell to millions, was christened William in the Church of England, and a new account was opened in the ledger book of history. At the juncture, according to the first detailed census of 1624-1625, blacks constituted about 2% of the total population of 1,227. The 23 black pioneers, 11 males, 10 females, and 2 children, lived in 6 of the 23 settlements in Virginia. We can only imagine the feelings of the Seminole African Americans. The record burns with their presence, but is strangely silent on their reactions. The black founder fathers and mothers enter history thus: faceless men and women uprooted from Africa and flung willy-nilly into a
maelstrom of history.
Into a maelstrom of history. Nothing in the record indicates that the shock was great for either blacks or
Whites. We're going to end at English titles in 36.
There were skilled farmers and artisans among the first group of African Americans. And there indications in the record that they were responsible for various innovations later I can't see it.
Later credited to English immigrants. So blacks were the creators of things. They were the first farmers, artisans among the group of African Americans. There are indications in the record that they were responsible for various innovations, later credit to white people. So white folks took credit for their inventions and innovations. Go ahead. An early example.
An early example of this was reported in Virginia, where the governor ordered rice planted in 1648 on the advice of our Negroes.
On the advice, so the governor ordered rice planted in 1648 on the advice of our Negroes.
Sorry, it's a little because of the color.
Yeah, who told the whites?
Who told the whites that the conditions in Virginia were as favorable to the production of the crop as in the country.
Go ahead.
The country. There is
Furthermore,
the testimony of Washington Irving, who made the following observation in the contemporary satirical skit: these Negroes, like the monks of the Dark Ages.
Damn. Go ahead.
Damn. These Negroes, like the monks of the Dark Ages, engross all the knowledge of the place, and being infinitely more adventurous and more knowing than their masters.
Our masters, we were smarter than our masters. Go ahead.
Carry on all the foreign trade, make frequent voyages in canoes, loaded with oysters, buttermilk, and cabbages. They are great astrologers, predicting the different changes of weather almost as accurately as
an almanac. So that's us. We were geniuses. We were genius. We had to give the white man advice on how to live here. Watch this. Many perhaps.
Cat, you want me to take back over?
You trying to find something that Jessica? If you trying to find something.
No.
Many were. Many perhaps were. We're gonna stop at English titles. Many
And
were.
Deacon, this goes back to Josephus when it says Abraham taught the Egyptians astrology.
Right. Astronomy.
And wisdom, astronomy. And wisdom also, this is in Psalm chapter 105, verse 17. I'll read that. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant, whose feet they hurt with fetters. He was laid in iron until the time that his word came. The word of the Lord tried him. The king sent and loosed him, even a ruler of the people, and let him go free. He made him lord of all his house and ruler of all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure, and to teach his senators wisdom.
Right, teach his senators wisdom. That's what Joseph was doing. That's Joseph, right? In front of Joseph when he was in Egypt. How he's educated his own masters in Egypt. So we educated our masters here in America, spiritual Egypt. Read that, many.
Many, perhaps most, of the first generation of African Americans entered America with Spanish names.
Stop. We entered America with Spanish names. Why? Because the Jews of Spain and Portugal came over here in the late 1400s. We arrived here trying to flee from what? The Inquisition. The we came over here with Spanish names. Watch this.
For reasons that are not readily apparent.
Because the author of this book does not know why. He doesn't know why we came here with Spanish names, but he doesn't know what we know now. That we were Jews that fled from Spain and Portugal, and we had Spanish names.
Spanish Inquisition.
The Spanish Inquisition. We were fleeing from the Spanish Inquisition. He says from reasons that are not readily apparent. I mean, he doesn't know. The author of this book, Lerone Bennett, did not know. We know. Go ahead.
Many black males were called Antonio.
Many black males were called Anthony or Antonio. Go ahead.
A name that quickly became Antony or Anthony.
Right. Remember earlier about his wife, his name was Isabella, when they arrived over there in Virginia. Like the ship called Amistad. That was a slave ship called Amistad in Spanish. Go ahead.
Other popular names of the period included Michaela, Cocello, Mingo,
Michaela.
Cocello.
That's Spanish names too. Go ahead.
Mingo. Pedro. Francisco. Jibina. Maria. Wartello. Tomata. Angola. Antony Congo.
These are Spanish names. Because these are Jews. Go ahead.
Shortly after their arrival in America, many blacks discarded African and Spanish names and adopted English titles.
Johnson, Jackson, Reeves, whatever, Smith.
William.
Right. That's what happened. That is what happened. That's what happened. So we went from, that's why they called us Negroes. Negro, the Spanish word is negro. That's a Spanish word, Spanish term for blacks, Negroes. English is Negro, Spanish is negro. Okay? So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take some questions you may have thus far regarding the topic. All right? So relax. We'll be back.
Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. Deacon Nathan here of IUIC Philadelphia. You're tuned into Our Hidden History Radio, where we go into deep understanding and history of who we are, according to the Bible, hidden artifacts, archaeology, the geography, or you can think of that shrouds around our history of the Bible. We go into it in depth. So Israel, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio. See you then. Shalom, Most High Christ bless.
Hey! Shalom, my Israelite family, and Most High in Christ bless you all. I'm your host, King Hez. Want to welcome you all to Jew Train. We got one of the baddest bands out here in the world of Israel. They will have your feet off the ground and get down. The organized sound of Zamar. And here they come with Jew Funk. Yo, Cap, let me get some of that.
vibes in the area. Well, man a fighter from the start. I mean, no carry grudge in the heart. Hatred make you turn for your people. Wise up, I feel this man. DJ, turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart. Everybody feel right. Good vibes in the place all night. Cause we no carry grudge for people. We no have time for your study, no evil. Don't make them catch you with the bad energy. Smiling on your face, but me I tell like them my enemy. How many times you try to cure them? I fi cut them up, that are the only remedy. Everybody go through things. We no perfect, so we no do the blame game thing. Know this trial's gonna come one day. I fi endure, adapt me a sing. Any function must clean, then step out, peel out, jump in a car, tire screech out. GPS it have it put in the route. Dream team touch the scene, everybody scream out. Wait up, turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart. DJ, turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart.
Energy them not real, them a fake.
Cut the grass low so we get to see this snake them.
Pass the cutlass, give me the ring.
A long time I don't tell us that the whole of them are fake.
Them can't hold me down, cause it's a party night. Good vibes in the air, tonight me feeling right.
But about not hypocrite, but about not parasite. Them just show themselves for day, but them come out tonight.
Them a vampire, I run from the light.
Them just remember every day, them spirit no right.
Them a combine evil, too much idle time.
And whatever in a dark coffee come in a light. Turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart. DJ, turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart.
But them not really smiling at me face, me realize. Just give me the strength, me see they might be spiritualized. Still I enduring at this trouble when the pressure rise. Man, I be also lean at the giddy and be stay alive. No sweat and tears, endure self-sacrifice. Still not give up, cause me mind rest on the price. Just give me strength to overcome my enemies. Them full of hatred, them full of jealousy. Man, true to the thing, we no fake, we no counterfeit. I know for them, what them, know them full of shit. Be perfect, Israel never quit. Have to be purged in the fire, so me tell you this. Man, true to the thing, we no fake, we no counterfeit. I know for them, what them, know them full of shit. Be perfect, Israel never quit. Have to be purged in the fire, so me tell you this.
Turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart. DJ, turn up the vibes from the start. Ring tune, pull it up, celebrate cause we no carry grudge in the heart. We no carry grudge in the heart.
So you men want to be soldiers of the Lord. It takes hard work. It takes discipline. So the hell is this? See, you looking like LL Cool J, and you got your boot band on your damn pocket. You want to be a soldier of the Lord?
Yes, sir.
Fix your damn shirt. These men are going to show you how to be a soldier of the Lord.
You a brother, let's say a year and a half, you're looking or wanting to be raised up to a soldier. If you're not doing the work of a soldier as a brother, don't look to be raised up to a soldier.
Join God's army on a mission. You gotta keep the laws before you go and start fishing. It's more than just speaking God's words on the curb. Before you can lead, you gotta learn how to serve. You wanna be a soldier. Soldier. He say they wanna be a soldier. get your mind right, then get your grind right. Understand now and stop depending on your hindsight. Nights gonna be colder than the Klondike, days gonna be hotter than the limelight. Now is when the time's right. Walking through the rain and not need an umbrella. Dark cloud over our people, don't need no Cinderellas. Need action, no excuses. Need leaders, not slackers. Need soldiers in the army of God, no going backwards.
Okay. Say you wanna be a soldier, still on fire, never getting colder, huh? Repent, playtime is over. Since where you're down, feel like a boulder. Humble down, that's what's gonna mold you. Rebuke, strike quick like cobras. No sleep, gotta sip that Folgers. Whole Israel on your shoulders. Whoa, word of God, that's the lethal weapon. Your people sick, yep, they need injection. Profit, that should need profession. Cause the heretics, they coming with deception. Gotta wake them up, it's time out for resting. Grab infamy, teach a lesson. You a God, put away the stretching. Chase the kingdom and take your blessing.
Join God's army on a mission. You gotta keep the laws before you go and start fishing. It's more than just speaking God's words on the curb. Before you can lead, you gotta learn how to serve. You wanna be a soldier, soldier. He say they wanna be a soldier, soldier. But tell them how to do it.
You gotta humble down and listen. Can't do this for recognition. Every battle, every mission, you a soldier. No calling off, cause duty calls all for one and one fall. No standing down, we standing tall for the one who chose us. New levels, new devils, trials help you to develop. Orders purge out the rebels, history showed us. Closing thoughts is what you meant to be. No more cry about what he did to me. Gird up thy loins, wait for your ministry.
Gotta die daily and lay off the works of the flesh. Study to prove yourself, cause every day is a test. Life is worse than the curses, but in this truth I feel blessed. The old man is worn out, but the new man is refreshed. Change your mindset from just me to we. You only think about yourself, then you need to leave. We here to gather all our people from sea to sea, to the return of Jesus Christ, yeah, the King of Kings. Join God's army on a mission. You gotta keep the laws before you go and start fishing. It's more than just speaking God's words on the curb. Before you can lead, you gotta learn how to serve. You wanna be a soldier, soldier. He say they wanna be a soldier, soldier. But tell them how to do it. Join God's army on a mission. You gotta keep the laws before you go and start fishing. It's more than just speaking God's words on the curb. Before you can lead, you gotta learn how to serve. You wanna be a soldier, soldier. He say they wanna be a soldier, soldier. Well, tell them how to do it.
Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God.
So the Lord said, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. Go ahead.
That he may exalt you in due time.
God gives the promotion. God does the exalting. So if a brother passes, all praise to the Most High. The Lord saw fit for that brother to be raised up.
Sabbath morning, rise and shine, hit the block, make it hot, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, that's just how we rock. Friday night, gotta rest, in the morning, hit the block, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, that's just how we rock. Hey, I'm a workaholic, boy, don't play with me. Hey, no breaks, do this till the death of me. I'm with Elohim, careful what you say to me. Better watch your talk. We been the chosen ones, I heard you claim to be. Yeah. What do you got, hey, what do you got? What do you got, cause talk is cheap. What do you got, you see me say? Yeah, we got that remedy. What do you got, hey, what do you got? Heard you got that kill for me. What do you got, cause I need help? What do you got, cause talk is cheap. So I dedicate to do this every week, yeah. We not moving corners, so they thinking that we weak, yeah. Never get it twisted, ayy, don't sleep. We the sanctified, we pull up to your hood to clean the sheet, yeah. And I'm blessed, Wolfie on the crest, yeah. All I do is raving, praying for the rest. To the east, from the west, on a quest, never rest. About that work, dog, about it, I'm obsessed, yeah. Sabbath morning, rise and shine, hit the block, make it hot, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, that's just how we rock. Friday night, gotta rest, in the morning, hit the block, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, that's just how we rock.
hit the block, make it hot, they be shocked, that's a wop. Watch a doctorate, head chop, body drop, get the mop. This a jam, this a bop, for the flock, top of top. How much love, that's a lot, on the quest, not a yacht. Got a Glock, it don't pop, that's a prop. Nigga stop, ain't no fear in the mirror, check your spirit watch. We just pick a corner, we any money on. From here to California, we pull up at it's a corner. Kamikaze sliding like conveyor bells. If you try to play the prophet, you gon' play yourself. Saturday to day, we on the way with hell. Big soldier, we take orders like okay, what else? Check the stats, all facts, never cap. We be everywhere we at, on the map, in the trap. Me and Ja, back to back, boots black, script strap. Listens with that, this and that. Friday night, take a nap. We wake up, it's a wrap.
Sabbath morning, rise and shine, hit the block, make it hot, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, this is how we rock. Friday night, gotta rest in the morning, hit the block, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, this is how we rock. Sabbath morning, rise and shine, hit the block, make it hot, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, this is how we rock. Friday night, gotta rest in the morning, hit the block, shake 'em down. We go at it till about 4 or 5 o'clock. Warfare, got my gear, I'm prepared for the op. And we talking how we walk it, yeah, this is how we rock.
They don't make 'em how they used to. Old school riding in the new school. New school riding in the old school, huh? But I'm playing with it. They don't make us how they used to. Old school blind to the new school. New school rocking with the wheel looked up. Seat back, chucking deuce. No, we don't get down how they used to, Why they gotta get in my lane, Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, in my lane. Why they gotta get in my lane, Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, in my lane.
I'm gone, can't stick around for too long. I'm moving on.
In my lane.
I've been missing in action.
In my lane.
Trying my best to read the plain English, fleeing from saying.
In my lane.
I've been missing in action. In my
Way up purifying in the gardens. You shouldn't do that. There's a tree in the midst, 2/3 looking at it like, what we about to eat at? Serpent on the branch, I don't see that. They're like, nah, where you see that? They're like, hey, you should join us. Everybody about to be there. Many called, only few chosen. I can stick around, gotta get going. I got other plans, but this ain't one of them. Gotta stay rooted, there's a storm coming in. Gate with my name, don't know which one it is. If you ain't sealed, then you ain't going in. Hard to make friends when they don't understand. Show them to the light, but they don't clear it. Why they gotta get in my lane, Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, in my lane. Why they gotta get in my lane, Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, in my lane.
I'm gone, can't stick around for too long. I'm moving on.
In my lane.
I've been missing in action.
In my lane.
Trying my best to read the plain English, fleeing from saying.
In my lane.
I've been missing in action.
No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
No mountain too high, no valley too low. If we waking up Jacob, then you know I'm trying to go. We planting seeds, then I'm trying to sow. I'm trying to sow. And put my life on the line for the tribes like Geronimo. The Lord turning men into gold. As this story unfolds, truth turn friend into foes. Young bro, shot by the cops, only 12 years old. Negroes fighting for blocks, we all fighting for souls. We got our boots on the ground, big city, your small town. If you come up against us, then we shutting you down. If you ain't about your father's business, we don't need them around. To us, a leader's a verb. To them, a leader's a noun. We trying to reform your thoughts. Even teaching in different languages, we counted the cost. And already know that is dangerous, but we don't even care. Cause we risking it all to wake our brothers up, scattered abroad.
No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
When I look into my girl eyes, I see she see the truth. We teach and reap the
All right, we're back. Sorry for the delay. To gather some resources real quick. I got a hold of that book. Now I want to use it now. Africa, the Inhabitants, volume 2. Give me page 137 from that book. Page 137.
All right. This segment, you guys know, Deacon told y'all, y'all could call up if you got questions pertaining this class today.
Or text the number. Yeah, text.
Yeah, text this number right here, 267-702-6121. 267-702-6121.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we page 137 from the top.
All right, the Jews. In proportion to the Mohammedan population, the Jews are more numerous in the regency of Tunis than in Algeria.
See that? Tunis, where?
The Jews are more numerous in the regency of Tunis than in Algeria. They are grouped together in important communities, not only in the city of Tunis, but also in the other towns of the coast and in Jerbu Island.
Jerbu Island, go ahead.
Many of these Israelites are the descendants of Jews settled in the country before the conquest by the Arabs.
Many what?
Many of these Israelites are the descendants of Jews settled in the country before the conquest by the Arabs.
Right, that's the Israelites. So we were there first, in Tunisia first. Go ahead.
And it may be asked whether these families, till recently looked on with contempt,
hated,
do not contain some elements of the ancient Carthaginian masters of the country.
See that? They maintain the ancient features of their Carthaginian ancestors. Carthaginian ancestors. This book tells you the Carthaginians are Israelites. Once again, go ahead.
The Jews driven out of Spain and Portugal, as well as all those who have immigrated within the last few hundred years, are generally known by the name of Grana, that is to say, natives of Leghorn, Gurna, or Leghorn, having been the principal market of the Jews expelled from the Iberian Peninsula.
Expelled from Spain. We were expelled from Spain. Go ahead.
The Grana, most of whom had placed themselves under the protection of the Italian consul, or the representatives of other foreign powers, had rarely cause to complain of the Tunisians, whilst the old Jews were denied all rights to appeal against any injustice or extortion they had to submit to.
Damn, go ahead.
The hell is this?
A great many families were compelled to abjure their faith to avoid persecution. But although they willingly consort with their ancient co-religionists, they have remained Muslims.
Muslims,
There are also Jews in Tunis whose doctrines have become modified. Such are the Israelites of Jerba Island, who worship saints and show great veneration for the Muslim Marabouts. So recently as 1808, 17 Tunisian Jews were assassinated, and no one dared to pursue the murderers, who got off with impunity. A special headdress distinguished the Jews who had no rights from those whom no one dared to molest without the permission of the consuls. By a singular irony of fate, the majority...
Watch this.
The majority of the Spanish Jews in Tunis, remembering that their ancestors came from the Iberian Peninsula,
came from Spain, go ahead,
have laid claim to their origin so as to obtain the protection of their ancient persecutors. In the same way, before the annexation of Tunis to France, a number of refugees who had quitted Algeria to evade submissions to the hated conquerors claimed to be Algerians with a view to obtaining the support of the French consul against the Bey's government.
Watch this.
All the Tunisian Jews, whether native or extraneous origin, follow the Spanish rite, reading the Pentateuch and saying their prayers in Hebrew.
Reading the Old Testament, and praying in Hebrew. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, one of their invocations is in Arabic.
They speak Arabic too.
And this, according to Matson, in precisely the one most frequently uttered, and indeed the only one that the women say.
It's their prayer that the women
use.
Watch this, their prayer. Watch this.
The ancient prayer of the persecuted people beseeches the Lord to let loose his wrath upon Spain.
Stop. They're saying up prayers to God to let loose his wrath upon Spain for expelling them out of Spain. Watch this.
As well as on Ishmael.
Because remember the Arabs came, the Ottoman Turks came and enslaved us. Watch this.
Kedar.
More Arabs came. Who?
And Edom.
Whoa. And Edom. And Edom. Go ahead.
Damn. The three latter names.
Being
figuratively applied to the Arabs, Muslims of every race, and Christians.
Oh. See that?
Damn.
She's saying, curse the white man. Curse the Arab man.
Yes.
Curse the Middle Eastern man. Curse these devils, Lord. Bring indignation and wrath upon these bastards. That's what she's saying.
Let loose his wrath upon Spain as well as on Ishmael and Kedar and Edom.
Damn, that's Psalms 83 right there.
That's a righteous woman right there.
The three latter.
That's the daughter of Sarah.
The three latter names being figuratively applied to the Arabs. That's Ishmael, Kedar's Muslims, and Edom, and every race and every says Muslims of every race and Christians.
But Deacon, I thought Edom was destroyed already.
Right. So Ishmael is referring to Arabs. Kedar is Muslims of every race. That's Muslims of every race is Kedar. And
we got Aaron on your back.
And Christians is Edom.
Ready or not, here we come. You can hide. Come on, brothers.
No.
We're gonna find you and take it fast and quick.
Fast and quick.
Hey.
We ain't gonna. Hey, we gonna take it nice and slowing then.
I don't know what's worse, you singing or you ruining the words. I think
No, you gotta change it up. It's gonna be a fast and quick death.
Yeah, hopefully.
Some of us wanna take our time.
No, that's in Jerusalem. We're gonna take our time.
Some of us want you to stop.
At first, it's gonna be, huh?
What?
You wanna stop singing?
You stop singing.
Scripture says sing a new song unto the Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, but this was the prayer of our sisters, man. This is the prayer of our sisters.
He said, let loose.
Your fury upon Spain. So when it says, I'll read it again. It says, let loose Ishmael, Kedar, and Edom. This is the three latter names being figuratively applied to the Arabs, Muslims of every race, and Christians. So Ishmael is Arabs. They knew that Ishmael was the Arabs, by the way. Muslims or Muslims of every race. You had Hamite-style Muslims. You had Edomite-style Muslims called Mozarabs. And then you had Arabs that are Muslims. And Arabs that are Muslims. All right? And you had wicked-ass Negroes that were Muslims, too. They refer to them as Kedar. Then it says, and Christians. Christians is who? The white man. Who's white? The white man? Edom. And Edom is the Christians. The Christian whites, Isabella, Ferdinand, that's who they called them Edom. They called the Spanish people Edom. So I'm telling you, man, y'all think this, you call the white man Edom because you hate him? No. We call him that because that's who he is biblically. That's his name.
Right.
That's who they are. The Jews called the Spanish Christians Edom.
Yep.
Because that's who they are. They called the Rome Edom too. Because it's the same people. I showed y'all that episodes ago where it mentions how the Spanish crown were Hispano-Romans.
Right.
Same people. So I'm just showing you another book again. This book is old. This was what, 1800s, this book? 1800s?
Late 1800s, right?
Late 1800s. So I don't have to tell y'all, man, at this point.
Start collecting your own damn skulls and study that.
Right.
So you can know who the hell you are.
You better shut your white
That's
mouth.
right. Collect your own damn skull.
Yo, let them know.
Scrape your scalp. Look in the
your
mirror.
truth.
You know what I'm
Yo,
saying?
speak
And
your
know
truth,
the hell
man.
you are. Leave our damn skulls alone.
Right.
Especially Levi's skull.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Hey.
Levi's skull.
Yeah, right.
What's
This
this
guy
Especially,
right here.
especially Haitian skull.
Why Haitian
Damn.
skulls?
That's the only thing they have left. They got no trees in
Yo.
Haiti.
Oh, my God.
I don't
They got
know
no plants.
I don't know how.
Hey,
They're like, you take their skulls, what else they have left? in the
I don't know
land?
how you compare them having no trees in Haiti.
a perpetual hatred.
a
This
perpetual hatred.
perpetual hatred. Follow us everywhere we go.
Oh, man.
Hey, Dick, we got 3 texts. You want to take that real quick, or
Yeah,
you
take
want to
3
push
checks,
it?
man.
All right, 3
Yo,
texts.
I don't know what's wrong with Cap today, man. They ain't got no trees, so let them check their skulls.
Skulls.
I don't understand the correlation.
Make sure you get a Haitian skull.
No, I'm just saying, that's all they have left. They took everything
Out of
from
all black skulls, make sure that joint is Haitian.
Damn.
Yo, you did a world of study with that head. Yo, no
Hate never stop.
I'm back, baby.
Hey,
It's on.
it's a setup, bro.
He just said no offense. That was terribly offensive. What's the statement again, man? Go ahead and read that.
Dick, after that, can we
my
read the
brother,
prayer?
though,
of
man.
that sister?
I know.
Yeah.
You my brother.
Luke
No,
18.
no grudges against me, bro. That's what the Bible says.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That
Yeah.
apology's a setup right there.
Yeah, we got it.
It says, hey, Shalom. I usually miss the live class, but I do watch later. I just wanted to advise you that I sent some books for Deacon Ithon and our bishop. The information therein may tie in with all topics. The title is The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. We brought that book out a couple of times, I think.
Sound familiar.
Yeah, sound familiar. By Edward Gibbons. Chapter 15 of Volume 1 starts the really good stuff. The entire book is chock full of relevant history. I have yet to start the second volume because reading this grammar gives me a headache. All right, it says, Shalom Leadership, Most High in Christ bless. Just checking to see if you received the books, The Fall and Decline of Rome that I sent for you. Either you or Bishop. Don't know yet?
No.
Okay, we'll check up on that. We'll definitely check up on that. And it'll be good to include your name, too, if you like, so we'll know who we are talking to.
Yeah, but let's find out how long ago, though. Just in case it might get lost.
All right. So you can send us that information, name, and how long ago, and we'll check on that. And thank you very much. Thank you for the support.
Thank you very much.
All praise to the Most High.
All praise.
Shalom, Deacon. Welcome back, Officer Jezreel and Captain Joel.
All praises. Thank you.
Welcome back. Hey, listen, you welcome him back to the hatred, but it's all good, though.
Yo, you notice how he said my name?
Right.
He said Captain Joel.
Joel. It says, all praises to the Lord. You guys are so knowledgeable, truly black scholars, anthropologists, spiritual anthropologists, thank you. Where can I find more information of the original Jamestown settlers being black? I was taught that they were white. And is this the same settlement who disappeared? Who left the word Roanoke in a tree? Roanoke in a tree. All right. Also, you can please open a school in Newark, New Jersey, Captain Joel, or surrounding area. I would love to congregate locally.
There you go.
Hey, send up prayers, Israel, for the New Jersey school. Like I said, we're in conversation right now.
We're in conversation right now.
We're actually, Lord's will, we're looking to close, but if the Lord allows.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So make sure you guys are doing your part and sending up prayers along with us. We can't do it fasting and prayer because we can't do it alone, Israel. The Lord has to see that all of you guys are serious as well as ourselves. All right?
That's right. So continue your support. So the question was, Deke, where can I find more information on the original Jamestown settlers being black?
I never said that. Those the blacks that arrived here in 1619.
Right.
That's what it was referring to. In terms of the original settlers, that was Native Americans, of course. Native Americans, and King James is named after King James, Jamestown, Virginia, because King James and the tribe of natives there had a treaty, I believe, and I think King James' men was evil as Edomites, of course. His men that were here, he couldn't keep an eye on them, so when they were here, they was acting crazy, doing all kind of evil over here, under his nose, pretty much. But in terms of the first inhabitants of Jamestown, I was making reference to the 1619 arrival of those blacks that arrived here. I was making reference to them.
Yeah, it was 20 of them.
It was about 20 of them. Yeah, you can if you type in the website, a Virginia website, and it gives you a bit of a background on this first on their arrival here.
Right, and this person made a correction also. He or she said, sorry, confuse Virginia with North Carolina as far as the lost settlement and the word Croton. Please forgive me.
I don't know. That's about
Oh, the Croatian. I think she's talking about she referring to the Native Americans, the Lumbee tribe in North Carolina.
It was a mixed culture of
that's a Lumbee. Yeah,
Indians
that's a
and
Lumbee.
black settlers that was in that area.
Talk to that. Just talk to that.
And the Lumbee tribe in where's it at?
Where you from?
In Robeson County, North Carolina. If you're referring to that, that's the Lumbee tribe over there. They was calling them Croatian Indians, and they said it was a mixture of Croatian Indians, the Shara Indians, and Tuscarora Indians. It was a mixture of all of them. in that area, if you're referring to that.
And that was also the northern and southern of the Carolinas. All right,
North Carolina. That was in North Carolina.
Not Virginia on that one.
Right, that's what Jez is from. Jez spoke very passionately and very focused. His voice changed.
It was a setup,
He
bro.
was all focused on the questions. Like, the Tuscarooga, Lakotas. Everybody's there.
That was
my grandpop was over there.
That's my people, bro.
Yeah, my people over there. You see Jez cut his hair and all that. He's trying to escape from his roots.
That's the last question. All right.
Go to the next comment.
All right, next.
Thank you, Jez.
comment.
Thank you, Jez. Thank you for the information.
Oh, praise.
Thank you, sir.
It says Shalom leadership. You touch on this briefly at the beginning of the class. Are the Eritreans? Eritreans, people of the East African Israelites. Are people of East African Israelite. Eritreans.
I think Captain Joel touched on Eritrea earlier today about that stuff. About what's the question now?
The west of the Blue Nile River.
Yeah, what's the question again?
The question was, are the Eritreans people of East African Israelites?
Eritrea is not East Africa. Eritrea.
Yeah,
it is East Africa.
it is
East
East
Africa.
Africa.
Yeah, it is.
Zephaniah 2.
Yeah, Zephaniah 2 and 3 and 10.
2 and 10.
2 and 10. I thought it was 3 and 10.
Yes, sorry.
Eritrea, that's what's the name is from. Nipsey Hussle's from there.
You'll be all right, Jez.
Zephaniah 3, verse 10.
Just over there bleeding.
You read it, Judge?
I got it, sir. Book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 10.
I'm sorry, Judge. I'm sorry. Yeah.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants.
All right, can you pull up a map? The Blue Nile River and the White Nile River.
I understand all this bashing and I'm sorry afterwards. It's crazy. But I don't feel sorry for you just because we get it worse.
What are you talking about, bro? Yo, why you bring my name up like that?
I'm just saying. Everybody feels sorry for you. Feel sorry for you.
Yeah. Remember those Haitian skulls?
See what I'm saying? That's why I don't feel sorry for you.
Right, see that there.
Oh my God.
He's over there sorry.
Hey Jez, why you cut your hair?
Yeah, Jez.
Hey, you got it? Hey, pull up the map.
Don't do it, yo.
Why you call
the West Nile? The West Nile River.
I'm gonna hold back. All right. Look, he quiet. Put the camera on Jez, please.
Put the camera.
Right. Enlarge it.
Oh.
Yeah. Go back.
So give Jez a hug.
Yo, that's good, man. Hey, I'm glad to be back, man. All praises, man. I miss y'all.
I read that. Wait, zoom out again. I like a better map, but that was it for now.
That's pretty good. It says Eritrea right there on top.
Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants.
So it says beyond the river of Ethiopia. Do you see Ethiopia there?
Right there under Eritrea.
So it says beyond the river of Ethiopia. You have the Blue Nile River as well as the White Nile River. It says my suppliant. Read.
Even the daughter of my dispersed.
So it says, even the daughters of my dispersed. And as you can see, throughout the various countries within East Africa, you have Kenya, you have Tanzania, you have Uganda, you have Ethiopia, Somalia, Rwanda, Madagascar, Eritrea, and Mozambique. These are it says,
Sudan.
And Sudan. So that's why it says, even the daughters of my dispersed. Beyond that region of East Africa, it's when a concentrated level of Israelites that was taken throughout the Indian Ocean slave trade. So we know of the Israelites. That's why a lot of people think that vast majority of Israel that was taken to America from the West Coast, those just were the Israelites. But not knowing that the Indian Ocean slave trade focused on the Israelites beyond the river, beyond the White Nile River. So like once again, you have Sudan, you have Eritrea, you have Rwanda, you have Ethiopia, you have Uganda, you have Madagascar, you have Somalia, you have Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, and Zanzibar. So Zanzibar is a little bit off, more closer to the Indian Ocean coast. Go on.
shall bring mine offering.
Mm-hmm.
In that day shalt thou not be ashamed for all thy doings, wherein thou hast transgressed against me.
Mm-hmm.
For then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride. And thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people.
So God says, within these various regions in East Africa, I will leave in thee a what?
I will also leave in the midst of thee
in the midst of thee an afflicted
and poor people.
And a poor people, no matter where we go, the surrounding countries. You have in Ethiopia, you have in Eritrea, you have in Uganda. I think it was in Rwanda. You have the movie Hotel Rwanda. That was Israelites getting killed in 1990s. So they did a whole movie on that. So he says, I'll leave in thee an afflicted and a poor people. That's why the Arabs were rounding up the Israelites specifically in that area. They was transported to Zanzibar to work the plantations, the sugar plantations, the plantain plantations, and they would ship them later on. The Dutch, the French, and the British would ship them later on, and the Portuguese as well, to Madagascar, to Sri Lanka,
Japan and China.
Japan,
That's what
China.
So Yasuke got over there. Yasuke he was in Mozambique.
Yep.
He was taken from Mozambique over to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yasuke, the Black Samurai. That's on Netflix. That's based upon a true person, a real person. Right, and also, remember that book I brought out last week, the Black Holocaust. The Arabs said that we were destined for bondage. That's what the Arabs said. We were destined for bondage, and they mentioned the river Lake Tanganyika, where they took the Burundi. That's Rwanda, and same Rwanda, that same area. The Watusis, the Tutsis. That's the same people. All right.
We got some more we could keep.
I'll just finish that verse.
Yes, sir. And they shall trust in the name of the Lord.
Read.
The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity.
So there you go. So within the surrounding areas, don't look at, like I said, the people within those locations. There's a remnant of Israel in the west coast of Africa, as well as the east coast of Africa. There's a remnant. All right? And even in South Africa. That's why we said wherever the curses are, the problem is we focus on a central location. And you see the bishop is going out further into the east coast of Africa. You see him talk about Uganda more. And that's why we have congregation in Uganda.
We do.
And you can tell the difference. You had a big head Nilotic tribes, and then you have, the normal head, the big head, ashy Nilotic looking Africans. And then you have the normal head, smooth tone, smooth face looking Israelites.
Yeah, shiny skin. I call them shiny skin.
Shiny skin, lush.
So let's see. Let's go to Columbus participation. Columbus participation, page 80.
And a lot of the plantations that we in the field that we were picking over here, they was also in those countries that we were scattered also.
Hey, shout out to Brother Gregory from D.C. that had sent that book.
Oh, okay.
Sent it to Newburgh. Shout out. Yep.
Also, remember in the book Before the Mayflower I showed y'all here, he mentions that the Cortez, Columbus, Mendoza, Menendez, those guys were accompanied by black Christians or Jews expelled from Spain. Remember that? Ladinos, Juan Guerrera. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Participation now on page 80. We're going to read to page 81 and stop at religion.
Do you want to take this question while we wait?
Yeah. One more.
Yep. All right, Shalom Leadership and Family. I know you use a lot of books from this side of the world, but are the books from the African continent that backs up the same, it says...
But are there books?
But are there books from the African continent that backs up the same information you bring out? Just curious, because people from all over the world know who we are except us. Crazy, right? Prophecy.
What books you mean? I don't understand.
No, what they're saying is that the books that we're using is from this side of the world, from the Americas. can they also use books from outside of this continent and, books they find in Africa that speaks about our enslavement and our history? Because they're saying everyone knows about us. So most likely everybody must have some documents in their books about us.
Yeah. Are there books written by African authors, he means? What do you mean? I'm trying to understand.
Well, I know, Cap, you have a book from India.
Yeah.
A book from India.
No, we have a book of African authors, too. The one that talks about the CDs.
Right.
Right.
The 13th century, that was an African author.
Right. But we have some.
Yeah, we have some. But it's not really going, because we did have a library, Timbuktu. They destroyed that.
Right. A lot of the books sometimes we get from overseas.
Right, a lot of books we get off from overseas. Most of the books, I got a book recently from overseas. So we can get it from India. Yeah, so we do get some overseas.
The one book we got from overseas, they banned it here in America. So we had to go overseas to get the book.
We got a book written by Leo Africanus. He was Jake.
Right.
He wrote about the word Igbo. The word Igbo means Hebrew. That was a black writer. You had a book written by a brother named Oluwoda Equiano. He wrote a book. He wrote one of the first. He wrote one of the first slave called a slave narrative, I believe, a memoir of his time before Solomon. What 12 years a slave? What's his name?
Right.
Solomon Northup. Before Solomon Northup, you had Oluwoda Equiano. He wrote first, and he went and married a white woman. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's crazy.
There's a book also by, his name is Ibn Amada Labagoza. Rudolph R. Windsor mentions him in Babylon Timbuktu. He's from the Yoruba tribe.
Yeah, and he saw Simon says he's a pedophile, all that kind of stuff. He's crazy and be a pedophile, all kind of stuff.
So he got a book too from.
Yeah, we got So we do have.
So the answer to your question is yes, but also you filter that information with scriptures and also the leadership. You could always reach out and say, I got this book. This wasn't and that's what we do. We filter everything with the leadership and see what they think about it.
Well, if they want to send books to us, we have a P.O. box in Philly.
Yes.
You better share at the end of the class. Share at the end of the show, so they'll know.
Okay, they can send the books to us directly.
Yeah,
right.
So they'll know.
Okay.
All right, Paige.
Is
more?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Shalom leadership, Most High in Christ bless. My question is, are there any records of the so-called Native American recognition of the Israelite translators that Columbus brought with him to the Americas?
I'm going to read it right now.
This is Pamela.
I'm going to read it right now. We're going to read it. Right. I'm going to read it right now. Good question. Page 80. Remember what I said. Remember what I said earlier about before the Mayflower, where it mentions how the Spanish explorers, conquerors, came over here with black Christians who were expelled from Spain, our people, the Jews, and they came over, and they also came along with Columbus as well. That before the Mayflower mentions Pizarro, Cortez, but this book here mentions Columbus, who was here first. Are you ready? Page 80. Who's gonna read?
I got it, Deacon. After the Spanish monarchs had expelled all the Jews from all their kingdoms and lands in January.
1492. Go ahead.
In that same month, they commissioned me to undertake the voyage to India with a properly equipped fleet. These are the words with which Columbus begins his journal. Without a word of disapprobation, he thus mentions the tragic event which affected the welfare of hundreds of thousands and which must have produced a profound impression upon the naturally vivacious explorer. His epithetic words are indicative of his fanaticism. This trait he did not, however, import from Italy, which at that time was a preeminently Republican and commercial country. A very different spirit was displayed by his countryman, Agostino Giustiniani, the learned bishop of Nebbio, who speaks of the Jews expelled from Spain with heartfelt sympathy. He was the first to write a short biographical sketch of the explorer. This sketch, which lauds Columbus, is given incidentally in the bishop's polyglot psalter in the commentaries on the 19th Psalm. Columbus' religious enthusiasm soon degenerated into fanaticism in consequence of his contact with ecclesiastics.
Teachers, go ahead.
his truest and most useful friends, and in consequence of his intimate intercourse with men like the bachelor Andres Bernardes and Pedro Marta de Anglera, who boast of the special friendship of Columbus. This fanaticism was also nourished by sordid avarice and the desire to promote his own material interests. In order to appear particularly pious, he even wore the dark brown cowl of the Franciscans. The expulsion of the Jews from Spain is closely connected with Columbus's expedition and with the discovery of America, not merely externally in point of time, but also intrinsically. Not in January, as Columbus asserts in his journal, but on March 31st, 1492. The Catholic monarch sent forth from the palace of the Alhambra the edict that all Jews and Jewesses of every age should, on pain of death, leave all the kingdoms and lands of Spain within 4 months.
Wow. Go ahead.
The edict, which was signed by Ferdinand and Isabella.
Remember, the Jews who fled from this edict, they fled to Portugal. When they fled to Portugal, they were given 8 months to get up out of there. And even to get into Portugal, they had to pay a poll tax just to get into Portugal. And when they did get into Portugal, they were allowed to stay for only 8 months. Go ahead.
The edict, which was signed by Ferdinand and Isabella, is of a wholly religious character, especially as regards the chief reason given for the act. The reason given is that in spite of the incessant and most energetic efforts of the Inquisition, the Marranos were beguiled by those who adhered to Judaism to return to their old faith, and that is greatly imperiled the Catholic religion.
So the Jews that were keeping the laws of God were converting the Israelites that were converted to Christianity back to their original faith. So you say, you know one thing? Get rid of all these Jews. You guys are disrupting Christianity. Get out of here. That's what they did. All right? I'm not my mic out. Go ahead.
Me too.
You did you too?
Yeah.
I think it's my foot. Go ahead.
The Jews were generously allowed to take their property with them by land and water, accepting gold, silver, coin, money.
No, that's all I want.
That's it.
The Catholic religion. That's all I want. Go to First Maccabees 141. We got 10 more minutes.
Can you just bring up the image of one of the translators that assisted in Columbus?
It's a setup, bro. Telling you, man.
What happened?
So we actually have a historical image that was captured.
Historical image?
That's a setup, of one of the translators that Columbus brought over from Spain and Portugal to the Americas. One of the Hebrew translators.
So to answer your question, yes, do we have a pictorial?
Yes, we do. So we have actual
proof.
footage.
We have pictorial proof.
Actual images of a native translator that was brought with Columbus.
We got proof of everything we
why
said.
me, man? Oh, man. It's definitely a setup.
His
man.
name is Windwater.
Oh, man. I tell you, man.
Yo, I don't. Wow.
Yo, D, how can you allow this, D?
one of the Latinos.
Oh man.
All right. Yo, what's up with the music? Oh man.
Oh man.
Expert at Hebrew, man.
So it says the reason given is that in spite of the incessant and most energetic efforts of the Inquisition to stop the conversions, it says the Marranos were beguiled by those who adhered to Judaism to return to their old faith, and that this greatly imperiled the Catholic religion. So basically, the Israelites that were teaching the laws and commandments of God were pretty much reverting our people out of Christianity back into their original faith, like we're doing now, like we're doing right now, and that endangered the kingdom. So it says, since we can't stop them, let's just get rid of them. And that's what they begin to do. That's the whole reason behind the Inquisition. All right, First Maccabees 141.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41.
Read the verse 50.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathens agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath days and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves, and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law, and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
So the same stipulations for the Jews and the Greeks is the same for the Jews in Spain. Same thing. One world religion, all be one people. It's the same thing. Forget the laws of God. Same thing. The exact same edict of Greece. All right. So we're gonna end it right there. We got a few minutes left. We're gonna shout outs to the IT team. Shout outs to the breakfast team for doing their thing as always. Officer Saeem or Cap, announcements?
Hey, shout out to all you supporters that send in your books. And callers, when you text your name and where you from, so you be recognized what areas we reaching, what the folks are doing out there, okay? So when you send your messages, please include your name and your state where you're from, okay? And if we didn't get to your questions, Lords will, next episode, will touch on the questions if they're not too far-fetched, okay?
All right, anything else? Oh, the P.O. box, right?
That's your announcements?
Oh, I'm waiting for it. So next week we'll announce it.
All right.
All right, that's it?
That's it.
All right, Israel.
Deacon?
All right, Israel.
Do the honors?
All right, Israel.
Cap, you did the donations.
Boosters Club, IUIC, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
All right. So Israel.
Once again, donate to our horrible.
He wanted me to mess
If
up.
you'd like to donate to the IUIC, Our Hidden History radio show, you can donate to IUIC.NewJersey@IsraelUnite.org. Once again, if you'd like to donate to Our Hidden History radio show, you can donate to IUIC.NewJersey@IsraelUnite.org. Put in the description box, what is it for? Brothers and sisters, thank you for the contributions. We pray they can continue to contribute so that the deacon can bring out this wonderful information that did not teach you in the churches, neither in the educational system. Also, if you want to donate to the Booster Club to get us to the four corners of the earth, donate to IUIC.fundraiser@IsraelUnite.org. Once again, the Booster Club, IUIC.fundraiser@IsraelUnite.org. Deacon, cue us out.
All right, Israel. So shalom. And those will see y'all.
And you are
now tuned into?
Yeah.
Again? We do it again
and
now?
you have tuned into.
Okay. And you have tuned into
Our Hidden History radio show.
Oh, my God.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you know history?
Say this after me right now. Say, I am a spirit, I have a soul, and I live in a body. Amen? Your body is your house. So you have a soul. You are not a soul. You are a spirit. Amen? This is a real you. You are a spirit, you have a soul.